Hi, it's Mrs. Vallon. I'm going to show you today how to draw a final isometric of the flat pack light, but this design is going to be slightly different to the previous. We're going to have a round central piece and then slots for an outside design. So I've got a few here. This one's got two. I'm just going to do one. So it's going to be a variation between these two designs. This one you can see is the slots at a slight angle. These ones are straight, but there's a lot of them. I'm going to reduce it to something a little bit simpler like that. Alright, so I've already started by boxing in a rectangle. So the isometric grid is underneath, as always, and I've just popped that over the top and I can see that lightly through there. Now, the grid is actually, each is 10 mils or a centimetre. So I can see that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I can use those as a guide to keep things even, to give myself an idea of, you know, kind of proportion, not exact size, but proportion. And this one is 8, I believe. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep. So that's my boxed in rectangular prism. At this point, because I'm going for a cylindrical shape, I'm going to create a cylinder out of this whole piece. Now, if you recall how we sort of break things down once we've boxed in, break things into cylindrical shapes, I'm just going to create a full wireframe here. So we've got all pieces. We need to divide these into halfway, so that's all these top faces, that's halfway here, so 2.5 is along there, 2.5 along there, and 2.5 along there. Now, once I've got halfway along all the edges of the diamond, and you can see the diamond, it's not a rectangle on top, it's a square on top to make things a lot easier, so it's not going to be a misshapen circle, it's going to be a proper circle. Now, in the obtuse angle, we do a large open arc, and we do that on both of those obtuse angles. Now here we're going to push this at least to the halfway point, so you can see this kind of like a halfway, so at least to the halfway point back in here. I like to just go just a little over, so knowing that's halfway, I'm going to kind of come back in here, push it along the edge and come around. Okay, so we've got a basic isometric circle. It's just a sketch, of course. Now I'm going to do something similar, but I'll only see the front couple of faces, so I'm not going to do this back arc. I'm just going to do there, there, and there, and then I can drop down the edges from that. So coming halfway along there, halfway, and I'm going to do from here to here and there. So I can do my large arc between those 2 points, and again pushing this one in. So it's going to be basically in line with this. It's just so we can get this front part of the curve. It's a bit wacky. Just keep going until I feel it's right. Okay, so this is going to come straight down from one edge to another. Trying to sort of figure out where the best line of fit between those two cylinders are. So I might just clean that up a little bit, so when I do my final drawing I don't get confused, because I've got too many lines going on. Alright, or my firming in with the outline, I should say. Alright, so here we've got a base piece, and then we've got all of these slots that go into it. Now, you can see from this, from all of these designs, the base doesn't sit right on the ground, it sits up a little. So I'm going to come up about 1 centimetre. So well, I could probably come up 2 just to try and make it a little bit more distinct and separate. So if I come up 2, and I'm just going to clear away anything that, you know, I don't need to see at this point, which is all of these lines. because otherwise it starts to get confusing. All right. So I'm going to create another diamond full size of the rectangular prism shape and do the same thing so with the circle. Okay, just cleaning it up a bit more so I can see. So coming across 2.5, coming across 2.5, and around here. Now the thing about this one actually, which is probably, I could actually keep it the same size, which I think I will. I'm going to keep it the same size, but some of this one up the top here, you can see the circle is actually slightly smaller. So if I want to do that, at this point, I'd come in and I'd make a diamond that's slightly smaller inside this outside shape, just because then I could use the outside cylinder as my external shaping, and you can see there's that little bit of overhang. But I'm going to make mine pretty much square to the edge, so it's going to slot right in there. Okay, now let's do this. So there's my diamond, there's my points. I'm going to do this from there to there, and I don't need to do the full thing all the way around, but I just like to check that I'm doing it in the right way. Okay, so we've got the level. This is the circle, and we're going to actually finish the back bit because there might be some of it that comes through. So there's the full circle. There's the full circle for the actual base piece, so I'm kind of going with this one. There is one that's a bit smaller that's on the inside, so I could actually do that, which is quite a small circle. So if I think about where this crosses over, that's the center. So I could do like a very small opening. So I do my diamond right in the center, and then I can do the very small isometric circle through the center there. Okay, for an opening if I was going to do that. Alright, next bit. This would, I guess, allow some sort of light bulb of fitting in there. This is obviously for this kind of light bulb that fit through that hole and be seated in that hole. Ours is slightly different. We would actually we could probably just pop it over the slats at the side. Now, the next bit is all of the pieces that are going to go round. Now, of course, it's not going to, if we're drawing a final design, we want to draw it like it's going to actually be created. So let's figure out how many pieces. I'm thinking I'm going to go for 8. So if I do I divide up my circle into those pieces, you can see I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to have 8 pieces that are going to inform my shape, and I can drop those straight down the edge because of this is going to go straight through these pieces. And I can even box them in a little bit because they've got thickness, obviously. And that's going to go down there and there and there. I've already got those. Now, the thing about this is these are a center line. And we really want to draw something that's got a bit of thickness. We don't want to, draw things that are lines. So just like this one, we want to give everything a bit of an edge. Okay, so instead of drawing out one side, I'm actually going to draw a little bit out each side for the thickness to start giving the impression. And I'm going to go all the way across because I'm just boxing in at this point. Okay, all the way across for each of these, giving a little thickness each side of the line so it looks balanced. Okay. pencil needs a bit of sharpen. Alright, now I'm going to focus on one piece at a time now. So let's just go with the bit that's going to come down the front. It's pretty easy. It's just going to be a straight bit. It's going to drop straight down the front edge. And just boxing it in. All we see of this one is going to be the edge. Okay? It actually stops there, so that was my mistake. Okay, for this one, I'm just going to drop this down either side of this line. Okay, and here, same thing. Drop it down like a waterfall, straight down to hit the bottom of the cylinder. Okay, now of course these go back, so just keeping that direction, goes back that way. This one we don't see because it goes back up straight, and this one goes back this way. Alright, so we've boxed that bit in. Now this bit's not too hard. All we do is we come straight down, and wherever it hits the edge, it's going to come straight across. And same with this. So it's just straight. Well, we don't actually see it here because this one's going to cover it. So I'll just clear that off. Okay. Alright, they're going to come in. Alright, so we've basically boxed in those pieces. Okay, now if I wanted to give some shape to this, this is where it starts to become tricky. If I wanted to like give it curve or something, maybe I want to curve it in. So maybe if I'm going to curve this in, maybe I'm going to do sort of maybe a bowl shape a little bit, or a bit of a taper might be good, just a straight taper to a smaller circle. So this is going to be straight down. This might end up just being a foot that just, you know, runs across, something like that, you know. So I could start creating something that is a little bit more, you know, designed rather than just like a cylinder with 8 pieces that slot in. These are also going to come across in here a little bit, which you've got to actually show at some point. But let's decide what kind of shape we're going to have at the top. So I've decided I'm just going to do a simple taper, just to keep it simple, you know. So I'm going to shave off 1 centimeter. I'm actually going to do another isometric circle because that's what I'm going to need to show that it is forming that circle. So it goes from there to there and from there to there, and then these are going to push out to the sides. Okay, so this point, let's do it from here. This point to this point, I'm going to draw a line that just tapers from that point to that point. And this one, because I'm cutting it down a bit, it's tapering from there to there. So I'm going to run that line down to there. And from here, that is going to run out to this edge. So from there to, oops, trying to get it hit the right mark, and from there to out here. Okay, these are just going to go, it's going to have a slight angle, but we don't really see them. Okay, so it might start to look a little bit confusing, but really this edge is what we've got to kind of put in at this point, because we do see that edge a bit. We see the one that comes down here as well, and the one that's actually coming down there. Just carving that down. If you need to start cleaning up lines, it is harder to do than your other boxed in shape. It might be easier once I've cleaned it up so you can see what I've actually done. Maybe I'll start clearing out some lines. So I don't need all of these anymore. Don't need it out here. I've carved it down. That finishes. This is going, because I don't come straight down anymore. I come at an angle. Okay, I can get rid of the circle mostly, because I'm going to start to just show this as panels rather than a full cylinder. Okay, so hopefully you can start to see the pieces coming together. So I started to give it a bit of a taper. Okay, I don't need these because, as I said, I've only got those slotted panels now. I don't have the full circle anymore. Okay. Alright. One thing I haven't done at this point is I haven't shown where this comes in, and like I mentioned, we do need to show that. So this actually will come in at, you know, some part way. So you can see, like on these, it comes in part way and then heads back up because we've got a bit of a thickness at the top, and we don't have them all joining up in the middle. It's open in the middle. So this point might go straight up. So I might find a point there to help that come straight down, you know, and then that can go across. And I've made like just a more of a panel piece rather than, you know, something that looks like, well, it's unclear really what it looks like until we sort of start carving it away. Okay, same thing here. We're going to come straight down, so this is just beyond that line. I'm just going to come straight down to there, and that's going to finish at a little capped end. So it's much easier when you start with this is a straight piece. This is a straight piece that comes in. When you box it in, it's so much easier. This bit's going to stop there, and we'll see that inside bit. This bit's going to stop there, and we'll only see that, and so on all the way around. We'll see those bits go down and drop behind there. This one comes square. It's going to come straight down. Ooh, have I made that a bit too big? Probably. And a bit smaller. Come straight down. You can see a little bit of that. It's not really, it's sort of square side on, so you don't really see much of it. Okay, so yeah, it's probably looking a little bit hard to see right now. Let's see if I can clear it up. But because I've made these decisions and I can see it in my mind's eye, you know, it's easier for me to tell what's going on than if I was copying. It would be a lot harder. Okay, these might even come in a little bit just for a little bit of style. Nah, I think I'll just keep them straight just to keep it simple. And there it is. So, yep. But I do want to create sort of like a bit of a reveal underneath, so it's going to be straight down. Okay, so I'm going to pause there. I'm going to finish by firming this in with an outline. now I've firmed that in. Well, I've gone over it with the outline. Remember just to use something pretty fine. 0.2 is readily available, so it's a good thickness. Wait for the outline to dry a little bit. Make sure you're not going to smudge it, and then just get rid of all the lines. You'll be able to see if you've missed anything. Don't think I have. But you never know. Alright. Yeah, I have. I've missed that bottom edge. So there you go. Okay, now it's a good idea to render that. So that's the next video. Thank you very much.